Boom, boom, boom. Let me hear you say, "Way, oh, I'm so sorry, I couldn't resist." Welcome to my review of the latest Doctor Who episode, Season 1, Episode 3, Boom. It's our first this era to not be written by Russell T Davies, and probably the most thematically different for this TARDIS team to date. A lot of people are saying it's their favourite episode, for years, and a lot of people not so much. So, without any further ado, waffling around this little intro, enjoy my full review and thoughts on Boom, written by Stephen Moffat and directed by Julianne Robinson. Now, with my other two reviews for Space Babies and the Devil's Code, which you can watch now on this channel, I've gone through the story scene by scene and then concluded with my overall thoughts and thoughts on characters, performances, etc. But this time, however, I will not be doing that. This is mostly down to the fact that Boom is pretty much real time compared to the other episodes. We just have one long continuous scene, other than of course the brilliant cold open, introducing us to every key player and the main plot point of this episode. The Doctor runs to help and stands on a smart mine that we saw explode only a minute prior. In the span of about 5 minutes we have everything introduced, from the ambulance and how that works, to the father-daughter relationship, the romantic tension between Mundy and Canto, I think his name was. We see how someone dies on these mines straight away, getting that logic explained to us, and then we see John Francis Vater's death, and that pretty much sums up the entire story setup. It's brilliant work from Moffat to allow pretty much the rest of the episode to play out in real time with little to no cuts away from this one location, having everything they needed to set up in the first 5 minutes prior to the title sequence. For me, the key thing to note about this episode is the writing. Stephen Moffat returns for the first time in almost 7 years and delivers a wonderful story concept and dialogue to match it. The Doctor has essences of Capaldi in his performance here, which I absolutely love. The poetic language got a little bit tiring every episode in Moffat's own era, but after so long without it, this borderline pretentious style is actually just gorgeous. Yes, I called it pretentious, but again, when used sparingly and having not seen it for 7 years, I love it. The use of the Skyboat song and the dialogue about the moon and the President's wife, separated from their in-universe Doctor Who connections, are gorgeous ways of writing the story to give it so much more personality and depth, whilst also giving Ncuti some really amazing stuff to dive into as an actor. So let's use that to talk about Ncuti Gatwa. This is my favourite performance of his in Doctor Who yet. I love that 15 seems to wear his emotions on his sleeve, because that lack of control the Doctor has here is really felt. When Mundy shows up, the Doctor almost whimpers to himself and finds himself crying throughout a lot of the episode outside of that moment. This really helps sell the danger of this episode. Other Doctors would have been a lot more sort of hard on the shell and not really as emotional and sort of worried as this Doctor has been, and I think that really helps sell it. We know they'll all be fine by next week, but you really feel the danger that they're in and can't work out exactly how they're going to get out of it. Ncuti is incredible here though. The lines of "do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it?" brilliantly acted. I love those moments, and it shows a real range of emotions in just using a single line of dialogue spoken in different ways, where he pleads to Mundy saying he is a complex space-time event. Again, incredible stuff. The range, energy and ferocity of Ncuti as an actor, but also 13 as the Doctor, is something you just can't look away from, and I'm very excited to see what comes next for him. Millie is also fab in this episode. Ruby gets a lot more to do here, and her scene insisting on how she gives the Doctor that flesh urn thing instead of throwing it, suggesting the rhythm of it, even the foresight to think of a solution to every scenario, tackling the child, stealing the gun to fire and create a distraction for the ambulance. It's really great stuff. And knowing that this week's episode will give us a Ruby-focused story just fills me with immense excitement as to where they can take this character from here. The story as a whole, though, was great. I haven't got too much detail to jump into without just pointing out more of my favourite moments and lines of dialogue, but overall this episode is beautifully and cleverly written, with a focus on bringing the best out of our main cast members, and I love it for that. The visuals, though, were absolutely spectacular. The practical set was excellent, and the first use of an LED screen similar to that of the Volume was incredible. Something very new for Doctor Who, but something I feel like it's maybe needed for a while. Not for everything. Star Wars has shown that it's best when used sparingly, but with a good cinematographer. It's a perfect idea alone for that TARDIS backdrop though. Never has the TARDIS interior felt and looked so real. The light coming off that background shining off the doors was just gorgeous. I also thought it was interesting seeing Verada Seifu in this as Mundy, someone we know who's been cast for a companion role in Season 2 and has been quite a mystery in the community for a while. Now we're all just trying to work out if this is going to be a situation of a reused actor like Martha or Amy, Freema appearing in Army of Ghosts and Karen appearing in Fires of Pompeii, or if we've got another Clara Oswald on our hands with a side character who will prove to be more important than we initially thought. I was personally a big fan of this episode. If I had to pick holes in it, I'd just say in terms of personal preference, I think the smaller scale and the battlefield sort of army setting was fine, but not really my cup of tea, so that means for me, I can't really put it above Wild Blue Yonder or anything like that, but I do think it might just be the best episode since Wild Blue Yonder. I gave The Devil's Cord a 9 last week, and I think in hindsight I'd probably shove that to an 8 and keep Boom as the standard for a 9 out of 10 episode. For something to hit 10 out of 10 for me nowadays, it really has to be something special and almost feel like it's made for me, something I'm really wanting to get out of Doctor Who. So 9 out of 10 is still pretty high praise for such a solid episode. What did you think though of Boom? Let me know in the comments below, and also check out the other Season 1 reviews we've got on this channel for Space Babies and The Devil's Cord. If you're interested in more in-depth Doctor Who chat though, as well as some conversations about all your favourite movies, TV shows, video games, etc., I host a podcast with a mate of mine called Nostalgia Bait. It's available on all your best streaming platforms, mainly Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and here on this YouTube channel under the podcast section. Go and check that out, would really appreciate it, and yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Leave your likes and comments and stuff below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you very soon with my review of 73 Yards.